Alright, you have seen the title of this video, and you want some context. Context is the thing I do best, so let's go. I'm a logophile. I'm in love with words and etymology and linguistics. I'm subscribed to the Merriam-Webster Word of the Day newsletter, which is extremely nerdy when I say it out loud, and it wasn't any less nerdy when it was in my head. But on October 3rd, Merriam-Webster sent me a thing. I should probably close this window. I don't care if I'm going to lose. We have more important things to talk about. Yes, I'm going to leave the site. Don't ignore that. Completely ignore that. So, October 3rd, the word of the day, according to Merriam-Webster, was Percy. Percy, adjective, definition, having a puckered appearance, proud because of someone's wealth, especially in the absence of other distinctions. It's an interesting word, and I don't know if I'm ever going to use it in real life. But they gave two examples of Percy, and we're going to look at the second one, because it is from an article on the Washington Post by a woman named Sally Jenkins from the 13th of February, 2014. And it says, and I quote, "Some guys get all pursy around the mouth when you suggest this, that figure skating is infinitely harder than ice hockey. Every 4 years at the Winter Olympics, figure skating fans have to listen to a lot of nonsense about how their sport lacks legitimacy." This gave me pause. I will admit I was not the kind of person who would have considered figure skating a sport. I have nothing against figure skating. I watched like the first 11 episodes of Yuri on Ice until I got bored. I think figure skating is awesome, and the people who do it are extremely talented and way fitter than me, and I hold nothing against them, but I would never have considered it a sport. So it got me thinking about a few things. So let's, soap. Soap is not as important right now. There we go. So we're going to, investigate, is figure skating a sport? First, let's look at sport as a word. Sport. No, those are both verbs. Noun. Really? 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 I mean, that's the second there's you know what? Let's try something else. I have the Merriam-Webster Dictionary app on my phone, and while no, you're not going to get a recording of this because I'm not a real YouTuber, it does have slightly more robust and less awkward definitions. Sport. Noun. A contest or game in which people do certain physical activities according to a specific set of rules and compete against each other. I'm looking through other definitions and I'm seeing physical activity engaged in for pleasure as a particular activity as an athletic game so engaged in. And I remember seeing a definition here, and I don't know where it is now, and I think I am just being stupid. Anyway, so sport is an interesting concept because people have different ways of defining it. Some people will argue that chess is a sport. I will say I'm one of those people. Some people will argue that, let's say, esports, video games, World of Warcraft, not World of Warcraft, but like League of Legends, or what are other esports? I know other esports. Rainbow Six, something like that. Like those are sports, and I don't know where I fall on that, and that is honestly a topic for another video, because this video is about whether figure skating is a sport. Here we go. So, I have two important definitions here. One of them is the definition of sport, which is a contest or game in which people do certain physical activities according to a specific set of rules and compete against each other. Let's look at what an athlete is, because when we think sports, we think athletes. So, looking at the definition of athlete, we see that an athlete is a person who is trained or skilled in exercises, sports, or games requiring physical strength agility, and stamina. Trained or skilled in exercises, sports, or games. Let's go with exercises requiring physical strength, agility, or stamina. I feel like that makes construction workers athletes. And I don't think construction workers would call themselves athletes. But according to Merriam-Webster, construction workers are athletes because construction workers are either trained in or skilled, usually both, in fact, in an exercise that requires physical strength and a little bit of stamina. So, interesting. According to Merriam-Webster, they are athletes. Construction workers would be athletes, but let's get a bit more specific because you read the title of this video and you are here for hot takes by blog writers and articles. Go figureskating.com. That's a pretty good name for a website. It's not secure though, and the website design is ancient. Anyway, is figure skating a real sport and should it be part of the Olympics? I'm going to read this whole thing, but you aren't because this video is already going to be pretty long. So let's go. Figure skating is governed by a set of rules based on the international judging system, is of a competitive nature from the lowest basic skills to the senior level, requires skill and prowess, requires vigorous bodily exertion, involves individuals and or teams competing against each other. So, figure skating meets the criteria of the definitions from all these dictionaries, and therefore, figure skating is a sport. That is interesting. I would not have considered, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I guess if they are competing, then it would be a sport. It's so weird to think of figure skating as a sport, but I guess it is.